say your question one more time, because a lot of people have your question. Slug, brother. Say your question one more time, all right?
What is it? Romans or Galatians. It says that he that is a Jew inwardly by the circumcision of the heart and not the circumcision of the flesh.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then it speaks about being...
Who was that said to?
Huh?
Who was that said to?
Either the church of Corinth or the church of Romans.
Turn to Corinthians 1:1.
And then he talks about how there was a circumcised group and an uncircumcised group. There were the Jews and then there were the Gentiles.
And what does that mean, the circumcised and uncircumcised?
To me, that means the people of the covenant and the people who didn't have the covenant.
Okay.
So when Jesus came...
Who did Jesus come for?
Jesus came for the Jews, the Israelites.
Turn to Romans 9. Go to 9 and 4.
When he came for the Jews and the Israelites.
Who are the Israelites?
The Israelites are whoever the Israelites are. I just look
at
them as
very,
people.
I understand, but that's extremely important to your question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, that makes it very important.
I.S.U.P.K presents the Lord's 51st annual Passover.
This is crazy, yo. We in the arena. Okay, I can't explain to you the level that is. This place is going to be packed with the children of the Lord shouting in one word and one name to them all.
On Thursday, April 9th, 2020 at sundown, we're going to be holding the Lord's 51st annual Passover.
I ain't a people pleaser. I don't like people either. I don't care if your Naza Jigga ain't wanna meet you. Just give me my mother.
We're gonna be located at the Westchester County Center, 198 Central Ave, White Plains, New York, 10606. $100 for all adults 17 and over. Kids are for free. Start sending in your funds today. For booking information, check us out on the I.S.U.P.K 51st Annual Passover Facebook page. More updates will be available soon. Last but not least, Israel, Commandant General Yahanna will be accepting the men willing to stand for the Hebrew Academy 2021. The Lord's 51st Annual Passover.
First thing you said was the letters in Corinth. Just like you receive mail, the mail has an address as to who is written about it.
But then the common theme throughout the New Testament, this is the question I'm gonna pose to you guys.
Go ahead, you got 9 and 4.
The common theme for the New Testament is that there was a people that Jesus came for. Because even Jesus, when he spoke to the woman,
Corinthians 1.
who asked Jesus, a woman spoke to Jesus and asked him for something I forgot, and he referred to her as a dog.
That's
he said,
correct.
You take children, you take bread from the children and feed it to dogs.
Yeah, Mark 7 and 4.
And her response was a humble response, and she spoke and said that even dogs eat the crumbs. And he granted her what he wanted. That to me suggested that Jesus came for a particular people. But then when those people denied him, he said they were saying, well, we got a marriage to attend to, or we got to attend to our plantation, or, you know, when they was growing up and stuff in the fields and everything. And he said, well, go to the highways and byways and invite anybody.
That's not what he said. I understand what you're saying, and I understand exactly where your confusion is. I got you.
Maybe he was saying go to the highways and byways and invite people who are still of that particular covenant.
I got you.
My assumption was he was saying invite everybody.
I completely understand. Are you familiar with Charleston, South Carolina?
No, yeah.
Okay, you remember that there's a church in South Carolina that was built. It was built as a very old church in Charleston, and it was built specifically for black people to run away from their white slave masters.
Right.
And this church had been burned down previously before. And it was a place where black people could be safe from the people that was oppressing them. And just recently, within the last few years, they made a grave mistake, which was they invited anybody in. And a white man came into this black church that they built to protect black people from white people. And you know what this white man did? He murdered 9 people, including 3 pastors, a bunch of old ladies. The salvation in the Bible, and I completely understand your question, I completely understand your confusion. First thing we're going to do, every one of these letters that's in the Bible in the New Testament, Paul's writing letters from jail for the schools that he set up. Correct. The Christian church lies on Paul. Every letter that he wrote has an address as to who it's for. Okay, just Paul, like you received mail. No, we're going to get it. Read what Paul said. Paul is telling you, who he is writing to. Read verse 2.
1 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 2. Unto the church of God which is at Corinth, to them that are sanctified in Christ Jesus, called to be saints.
Called to be what?
Called to be saints.
You know what a saint is? No, that's not what a saint is. Give me Psalms 55 and verse 20. Was it 55? It's 50 and 5? I think it's Psalms 50 and 5. Saints is a specific definition, just like Jews means a specific thing. One of the first things that I asked you was, do you know who an Israelite is? And you did not know. It's like you're reading the letters and the records of one family of people. And when you pick up the records, if you don't know who it's talking about, you have no reference point as to what's being said and why. But that's, I know. 50, covenant, that's it, perfect. This is who a saint is. This is what you're doing, what you're learning is line upon line, precept upon precept. It's Isaiah 28 and 11. The Bible is not a graphic novel that you can just go from page to page to page and just understand. That's not how it's written. Precepts means there are things that's all throughout the Bible that explain what you are seeing. That's how you can prove what is true, what is not true. The Christian church does not teach our people the history of what we are reading. That's why nobody knows who these people are. This is what a saint is. Read that.
Psalms chapter 50 verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me.
Gather my what?
My saints together unto me.
Who are these saints he's talking about? What is a saint?
Those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Who is a saint?
Those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Those that made a covenant by sacrifice. Take me to Exodus 24 and 6. This is the specific definition of the words that you're seeing. Is it? I understand. I got you.
Those that made a covenant with him through sacrifice.
Right. Who made a covenant through sacrifice to the Most High? No, let's deal with that question because that's your question.
I know, but we're having a discussion.
We are.
I'm not assuming that I know everything. That's why I wish
I
could
do.
talk to you on the side.
I understand.
This is a little intimidating.
No. A lot of people have this question because getting this wrong ends up with dead black people.
It does, but having a conversation on the side will end up with somebody that's influenced and
But the rest of our people's lives will be saved because a lot of people have this same
question. My brother right here was just doing his job, making sure those ears heard something. But it's another verse I want to ask you about, and hopefully you can understand.
We're gonna deal with that, but first we're gonna finish with this one thing. Then we're gonna go to the next one. We're not going nowhere. I got you, brother. This is who the covenant by sacrifice is. Read that.
Exodus chapter 24, verse 6. Exodus chapter 24, verse 1. And he said unto Moses, come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nahab, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel.
Of who?
Of Israel.
Of Israel. Now we know who we're talking to, just like every letter they tell you who this is about. Now go to verse 7.
Exodus chapter 24, verse 7. And verse 5. And he sent young men of the children of Israel.
Of who?
Of Israel.
Go ahead.
Which offer burnt offerings and sacrifice.
And what?
And sacrifice.
Saints that made what?
Sacrifice.
Keep going.
Peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord.
Verse 7.
Verse 7. And he took the book of the covenant.
The book of what?
Of the covenant.
These are the people who the saints are that Paul is writing to in Corinth. Keep going.
And read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord has said we will do, and be obedient.
So when we read in 1 Corinthians, when Paul is writing letters to the saints, if we do not know what saints mean and who the people are of the covenant, you will think saints means everybody.
Every definition that you use, every scripture you use,
straight out the Bible.
It's used to define the word saint. Carry the same connotation of what I was stating. It's somebody that's sanctified.
No. It means specific.
They were set apart through sacrifice.
It's specific.
It's specific. It was to
because you said all people. It's not for all people. It's only Israel.
But here was my question. As Paul was writing this text to the church of Corinth, Peter was sent to a different kind of group. And then Paul was talking about how he had to rebuke Peter to his face because he played the harlotry. Also, the Bible speaks about, we're going to get there. Also, the Bible speaks about, he says that, he says that they were grafted into the wild olive tree. Speaking about the covenant, and saying how before it was not for us.
It was not for who?
It was not for whoever are not Jews.
No. You got to understand the covenant, brother.
Because even in the book of Revelation.
Hold on. First thing we got to do, if you say you don't know something and you come to a school, you can't take over the class.
I'm not trying to take over.
You are, because I'm trying to teach you and you still talking.
I asked you to explain this.
And I'm explaining it, but you ain't stopped talking yet, brother. I got the answer.
I'm not asking you a question. You went to 3 separate.
I broke it down. You didn't understand. You came to class in the middle of class and expected to know the answer as what happened in the first part of class, brother.
That's why I asked you to talk to me over there. Every time I try to talk to you guys, I don't know, bro. My eternal soul is on fucking, you know what I'm saying? I don't know where I'm gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So everybody got questions. When y'all out here, niggas listen. You know what I'm saying? But then niggas was brought up in shit. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So everybody trying to figure out what the fuck life means. And then have a conversation with you and feel like instead of you trying to teach me, you're trying to use me as an instrument to kind of prove that, you know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to teach at this way, what you should have done was to push me over there. So then in my ignorance, I wouldn't walk away feeling defeated in front of a camera. You know what I'm saying? I would walk away feeling I kind of got something from this instead of saying, okay, these guys are acting like dicks. You know
Go to 58. Go to Isaiah 58:1. Here's the first thing. If we were in church, you wouldn't walk up to the pastor and demand anything. If we were in a mosque, you wouldn't walk up to the priest of the mosque. I know how black people disrespect the prophets of the Lord.
That's right.
Because if I was a white man, you wouldn't come to stop me and demand that I answer any kind of way.
See, here we go with this, man. It's not demanding. It's simply asking you if you're out here to educate people.
Which I do for a living.
The same Bible says, it said, let your words be seasoned with grace.
I'm
Paul
giving
said,
you
I
the
became
grace.
all things to all people that I might win some.
So you trying to teach me?
I'm trying to let you see that you attack this. The Bible says in Proverbs about discretion. He speaks about how discretion is how you do stuff. The Bible says that the wise will win souls. You understand? So it's all about how you
win souls to do what?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. You can win souls to go be homosexuals.
It matters.
It does matter, brother. You try to tell me what I'm doing don't matter, so I can do it your way.
Let's say that book is specifically for Israelites.
It is specifically. God said that.
Why would there be a proverb in there for a homosexual to invite other homosexuals? Everything in that book.
But to the Christian church who does not understand the Bible, they make homosexuals by molesting children. And none of the important things, see, the problem is our people are very proud. And nobody wants to be taught that they are wrong. And when somebody tells them that they are wrong, you understand? And nobody wants to be told that they are wrong. I'm trying to teach you, brother. There are other people. See, Christianity makes our people selfish. Selfish to the point where I should get it, and then once I get it, I'll go and take it to be with white people. That's what Martin Luther King did. What our people need, first thing you got to do is if you come to learn, you got to be willing to hear, brother.
Y'all was over there about Watergate.
You got to be, we were never on Watergate, never.
There was another group.
See, we not the same, brother. You ain't stopped talking yet. How can anybody learn if you trying to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing?
You don't think that microphone has some kind of impact?
I don't need the microphone. I'm 30 times louder without the microphone. The point is, I'm not here for you personally. We're here for Israel. Salvation ain't for you personally. It's for our race. Christians are selfish and want things tailored to them to ignore the sufferings of the rest of our people. What is salvation? What is salvation? What is salvation, brother? What is salvation, brother? What is it? You talking? Tell me what you think it is, and I'll show everybody what the Bible says.
So, in spite of what it is, he says, seek it out.
What does it mean? How can you find it if you don't know? You said a lot of brothers' soul is in the balance, and you don't know.
You said it's not personal.
Salvation is not for you personally.
What you saying is from Israelites and for Israelites. He said, seek out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And then in the book of Timothy, he says, be thou diligent to study the word of God, to show yourselves approved unto God.
And what does that mean? You quote the scripture, brother, but you don't know what they mean,
I probably don't. That's why I'm here trying to talk to you.
You shouldn't be talking. You should be listening.
No, you should be off that mic.
No, you should be listening. First and foremost, you ain't going to tell me to do a goddamn thing.
It's all right, bro.
You understand? Christians are very proud, and that's why our people are destroyed.
I asked you a simple question. question.
No, brother. You tried to take over this speaking so you could be in charge.
I'm not.
That's a vote.
Talk to me over here.
And I said I was going to answer your question so everyone can learn. And selfishly, you wanted to make it about you.
No,
just like a sister that get an abortion,
your
just like the drug dealer, just like the child molester, just like the Muslim. You understand? You're not being attacked, you're being corrected. You're being corrected. Christians don't like to be corrected, brother. You are very Christian, brother. You're very Christian. Your spirit is a Christian.
I told you that's why I was grew up here, and I don't know. That's why I'm talking to you.
Since you don't know, have you stopped talking, learn enough so I can teach you, brother? Okay. You ain't stopped talking yet.
Teach.
You understand? The first thing our people have to learn is you got to be quick to hear and slow to speak. The Lord appointed men to teach. The problem is there are men that our people would rather listen to that let them say and do what they want and cater to them. You got 15 minutes? You understand? This is what the Lord wants. You understand? You see how he just come up and he want to immediately make it about him?
I came back, right?
You understand?
This is recording.
We teaching, brother.
I apologize.
But let me
I apologize. I apologize. I don't know
teach this brother,
but I got this. And I was just wondering, right? I remember Oakwood Chapel. I was in North. And I was wondering, what can you give me that they don't?
Say it again.
What can you give me that they don't? Give me a piece of tape from it. My name's Beyonce Harris.
Okay. All right. Let me deal with this brother question, and I'm gonna deal with your question. Your question.
I'm gonna step back.
You understand? Let me deal with this brother's question. This is what the Lord said. Isaiah 58.
Isaiah chapter 58 verse 1.
This is very essential to saving the lives of our people. Everybody thinks there's a way that things should be done in the black community. Everybody does things a different way. Nobody wants to do it the way God said to do it. This is what the Lord said to do. Keep going.
Cry aloud.
This is what the Lord
Spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
The Lord said, lift up thy voice like a trumpet. There are things that's happening to our people that nobody has the solution for, except the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K. And when brothers and sisters say they do not know, they have to learn what they are. We here to teach our people, but you can't come and control the class the way you want. You understand? Keep going.
And show my people their transgressions.
The Lord says, show our people where we're going wrong, where we breaking the laws against the Most High. Martin Luther King taught our people that all races should come together. The word holy in the Bible means separate. The whole Bible means separate book. It has nothing to do with joining another race of people. Your initial question that we was getting to was about the covenant. Paul in the 9th chapter tells you exactly who he went to. The covenant of the Old Testament was for the people who were under the First Testament. That's why I showed you in Exodus the covenant. Paul said in the 9th chapter, he came for his kinsmen according to the flesh. The Gentiles that was separated was the other half of our race that went into slavery before we went and ran into Africa after the Romans destroyed our temple in 70 AD. All of that is recorded in the Bible. The Bible is about bringing Hispanics and Native Americans, which is the rest of our race that left and came to America 1,000 years before Christ came, and reuniting them with so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and West Indians. That's who the Gentiles were. Our people were forced to eat pork because the damn Greeks would cut your tongue out and chop your fingers and arms off and feed it to your children. That is in the book of the Maccabees. That's in our records. That explains who they are and who the covenants are.
The book of Maccabees, is that the books that's inside the Catholic Bible?
No, that's the books, that's the 14 books amongst them that the Roman Catholic Church took out of the Bible after the 1611. That's correct. It's known as the Apocrypha. That is what happened in between Malachi, the end of the so-called New Testament, and Matthew, the beginning of the so-called New Testament. I mean, the end of the New Testament, the Old Testament. Those are the records for our people. You got which one? Oh, it's Jeremiah 31? God, go to Hebrews 9 and 15. Like, this is what the Lord wants our people to realize. The Christian church has left our people in such a horrible state that we don't know what we should do as a people. We cannot join other nations of people. The whole Bible is the Lord punishing us because we joined other people. The whole salvation is for Israel, our entire race. The individual portion you thinking of is your soul salvation. A brother may have a struggle with getting high, which is witchcraft according to the Lord. The Lord kill our people for that. Another brother may have a struggle with eating pork. One brother may have a struggle with being a Muslim that he was raised his whole life. One brother may have been raised in the church to be a Christian his whole life. One brother may have an anger problem where he get mad and want to murder everybody, which we have huge problems within the black community. A lot of murder. That's your soul salvation. Your individual soul has something that I may not have to deal with as a problem. But the salvation for overall is for our entire race. I may never had a crack addiction to fight.
So when you said you got your soul salvation,
you know what yes, your soul, that's you as a person. But salvation is not only for you individually.
So seek out your soul.
Yes, that means seek out how to defeat your personal demons. That's not separate from you getting a private heaven and private salvation that's independent for the rest of your race. Christianity tells us this as a people because it teaches us to be selfish. It teaches us to do what's best for me. That's how we end up selling drugs to each other and kidnapping each other and raping each other and murdering each other. That make us selfish. That's why sisters abort their babies. Christianity strengthens the hand of a wicked man, and the lies that they tell destroy our people. Ezekiel 13 and 22 say lies that made our people sad. Every other race of people, 20, 30 years, they know who they are, what race they are, where they come from, what their culture is, what their food were. Our people live in 20, 30, 40, 50 years completely empty, have no idea who we are. Change our name, don't know where we come from, families destroyed, we in the shelter, in prisons, in the ghetto. The Bible is recorded for the lost people. Ain't but one race of people lost on the earth. You understand?
I.S.U.P.K presents the Lord's 51st annual Passover.
Yo, this is crazy, yo. We in the arena. Okay, I can't explain to you the level that is. This place is going to be packed with the children of the Lord shouting in one word and one name to them all.
On Thursday, April 9th, 2020 at sundown, we're going to be holding the Lord's 51st annual Passover.
I ain't a people pleaser. I don't like people either. I don't care if your Naza Jigga ain't wanna meet you. Just give me my mother.
We're going to be located at the Westchester County Center, 198 Central Ave, White Plains, New York, 10606. $100 for all adults 17 and over. Kids are for free. Start sending in your funds today. For booking information, check us out on the I.S.U.P.K 51st Annual Passover Facebook page. More updates will be available soon. Last but not least, Israel, Commandant General Yahanna will be accepting the men willing to stand for the Hebrew Academy 2021. The Lord's 51st Annual Passover.